Hey guys, this is Nick and welcome to my Linux experiment. These are some interesting Linux, open source and privacy news for the end of July 2020. This time we've got some new AMD-powered Linux machines, Microsoft joining the Blender Foundation, and better support for RGB under Linux, especially for Asus laptops. Let's dive in right after this. This video is sponsored by Linode, the largest independent cloud computing provider. Linode makes it easy to give your creations their own personal space on the internet. Just about everyone needs a website these days, and if you've tested out simple drag-and-drop website providers, you know they tend to lack customization, lock your website onto their platform, and charge extra for basic features. Linode makes it as easy as possible for you to deploy enterprise-grade WordPress, Drupal, or even static websites in just seconds, using Linode's one-click apps. These apps are the same tools that businesses trust to truly own your content, make websites that are ultra-portable, and ensures you only pay for what you need. If you need something a little bit more powerful, Linode has now managed Kubernetes, and they are keeping their usual simple pricing model. There are no management fees like AWS and other cloud providers charge. They even bundle transfers, so you can significantly cut costs when compared to AWS, GCP, and Azure. With the amount you save, if you're using Kubernetes, it really doesn't make sense to use anyone but Linode. Sign up today at linode.com/linuxexperiment and get $20 in credit on your new Linode account. The link is in the description. July the 16th. Mozilla launched its VPN in 6 countries: the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Singapore, Malaysia, and New Zealand. This VPN is based on the modern Wireguard protocol and will cost $5 a month. Mozilla says they don't keep any user logs, so they won't track you, and the VPN is available for the desktop, Android, and iOS, although the Mac and Linux versions aren't available yet. I don't use a VPN, but if I did I might go for this one, if only to help fund Mozilla at my small level. Mozilla will also fix a bug that was reported a year ago in the Android version of Firefox. The specific bug lets a website keep access to the microphone and camera even while the smartphone is locked and the website is not active. This is pretty much a security nightmare right there. You thought your phone was inactive, but everything you did was still sent to the website you previously were on. It should be fixed in October, which is pretty far away, and I would have thought a hotfix procedure for this was warranted. July the 17th. Ubuntu 19.10 Eoan Ermine has reached end of life, as did all of its derivatives like Xubuntu, Kubuntu, or PopOS. This version wasn't an LTS release, and as such saw only a short window of support. If you're still using that distro, you won't be receiving any security patches or updates, so you should definitely move on to the next supported version of your distro of choice, probably based on Ubuntu 20.04. July the 18th. Wine 5.13 was released with a bunch of improvements that I don't understand at all, and 22 bug fixes, including a fix for slow performance in The Witcher 2, Battle.net, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, the Warframe Launcher, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, World War 2, and Modern Warfare 2. As always, Proton will probably soon move to this release as well. Microsoft released Procmon as open source. Procmon is a Linux version of the sysinternals tool for Windows, which lets you trace system calls through the command line. It can be grabbed from GitHub and compiled from source, as there doesn't seem to be packages for it yet. Microsoft probably is releasing these tools so that users of the Windows subsystem for Linux can have access to a suite of tools they already know, so we'll have to wait and see if it's just the first one of a longer list of tools Microsoft releases for Linux. July the 19th. Google launched the Open Usage Commons, an initiative to control the trademarks of various projects, all under its own purview. The rationale here is that having an individual own the trademark for an open source project can lead to issues if there's a falling out in the community, but there are issues here as well, namely the fact that a single organization can own trademarks for multiple projects, especially when it's Google managing it. IBM has even published a small memo to let people know that they didn't agree with this, and they expressed fears over the future of open governance for the projects whose trademarks are hosted by this Open Usage Commons thing. July the 21st. Support for Asus ROG laptops is improving thanks to the ROG Core project. This tool allows owners of Asus Republic of Gamers machines to effectively manage the crazy RGB lighting that these machines come with. It also extends to managing the touchpads, the function keys, or the screen brightness, and it even spawned more projects like Zephyrus Bling, which allows users to control the back display of the Zephyrus 14 machine and customize what it displays. Nice to see the community coming through when the companies themselves don't support our platform. Tuxedo, the Linux hardware manufacturer, announced the Tuxedo Pulse 15, a Ryzen-powered machine. It comes with Ryzen 4000 series chips, and it looks amazing. It seems to be using the same chassis as the Slimbook Pro X15, but in black instead of silver, and it can be configured up to 64GB of RAM, 2 TB of SSD storage, and a choice between OpenSUSE, Ubuntu or Tuxedo OS. The machine starts at €899 and doesn't offer the option of a dedicated GPU, using the Ryzen Vega graphics instead. Fedora might move the graphical backend for Wine to DXVK by default. The community has proposed a change for the Wine D3D backend to DXVK, as this tool has made strides in the last years and is now allowing Linux gamers to play most of the latest releases at near-native performance. DXVK would become the default backend for systems that can support Vulkan, but it might also be implemented in a reduced way, using Wine D3D for DirectX 9 games and DXVK for DirectX 10 and 11 games. July the 22nd. The Open RGB project has a new release out. It's a tool that helps Linux users manage all of their RGB stuff in one place. It actually supports a very long list of devices, and instead of having multiple apps dedicated to each of those peripherals, OpenRGB centralizes all the useful tools and settings in just one place. It also fills the void left by device manufacturers when they don't release Linux tools to control these colorful lights. KDE and Slimbook partnered up to release the KDE Slimbook, a fully AMD Ryzen-based system. It's probably using the same chassis as the Tuxedo Pulse I mentioned earlier, but with a beautiful silver color, a KDE logo on the back and a Plasma logo on the Super Key. It starts at $899 for the 14-inch model and $930 for the 15-inch, and just as the Tuxedo Pulse, it doesn't offer a dedicated GPU option, instead relying on the integrated Ryzen graphics, which are still a lot more powerful than an integrated Intel GPU. I must admit, this machine looks stunning. July the 28th. Valve hired a new developer, Tony Vasurka, to work on Linux graphics drivers. Tony worked on the Vulkan driver for PowerVR graphics chips and has contributed to multiple console emulators like Dolphin or Citra, as well as Wine itself. It's super interesting to see Valve go all in on Linux, adding support for Proton, pushing open source VR formats, and working on the ACO shader compiler. It seems that the company really wants to emancipate its users from Windows and offer other platforms for gaming. July the 29th. Microsoft joined the Blender Foundation as a corporate gold member. This means they donated at least €30,000 to the project. Microsoft seemingly uses Blender to generate 3D models and images of humans that can be used to train AI models, so basically Microsoft uses Blender for body recognition tech. Let's hope Blender will make good use of that money to improve that already awesome piece of software. Facebook, Google, Apple, and Amazon were being heard by the American Congress on various antitrust investigations. The main thing that is getting looked at is the fact that these companies have abused their power in their respective fields, either to snuff out competition, to completely lock down a market, or to impose ridiculous pricing to anyone who wants to access their ecosystem. What I read of the various companies' defenses sounded pretty weak to me, trying to spin the usual corporate lingo, but Congress also seemed to really dive into some unrelated tangents about China or conservative viewpoints being suppressed. In short, it looked like a shit show and probably nothing's going to come out of it, although I hope that at some point the US will hold their big companies accountable for the power they wield. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't hesitate to like, subscribe and turn on notifications. If you really did like the video, you can join the channel on YouTube or become a patron. Patrons and members get access to a monthly Patroncast and the right to vote on the various topics I'll work next month. So take a look in the link in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!